Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe. Hit the bell notification icon and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live, and there's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the nature of Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel, so please share the show on Facebook and Twitter. One last time, if you're new to the channel or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. Now we are joined by 10th Man, Neil, Brian's Logic, Refracted Curvature and a whole bunch of people in Discord, so welcome one and all.
Hello.
Hello. Wow. With the super level of enthusiasm in my intro, I thought a quicker response would have been given, but there we go.
I was expecting everybody to say something. I was taken aback for a moment.
I couldn't get to my mute button.
This is a great start to the show. Hello, Discord.
Hello.
Yep, enthusiasm level about 1%. Fantastic.
I expected everyone, and everyone probably expected the same thing, for everyone else to join in and say hello, but no one did.
Okay, just for anybody who's joining us for the first time live, I do typically at least half an hour pre-show. Subscribe to my second channel if you want to check this out. So it's broadcast maybe 2 or 3 days after the live show actually goes out, or if you're a member, you get it the same day. But there's a warm-up. The idea being that when I press go on the live show, everyone's all ready to go. They're all keen. I'll get into housekeeping. They'll all be enthusiastic. You start the show, do a big enthusiastic. I'm like, I'm going to give it 100% today. I'm going to be really enthusiastic in the intro. Welcome, one and all. Hello.
Hey, Nathan.
Hey.
Hey. Listen, I tried, but... Hey, Adam. I tried, Nathan, but my mic came out of the socket in the phone, so I came into a lull myself.
Oh, dear. What an unfortunate series of coincidences right at the beginning of a live show. Well, we're all keen now, so let's do a bit of housekeeping. Any evidence that you can acquire an elevation angle from a curved baseline?
Not possible.
Nope. Given that that's the case, that you need a flat plane to derive a celestial sphere model, is it okay if I answer all the rest of the housekeeping in that context?
Yes, that's absolutely fine. I'll just ask the same question again, start as we mean to go on. Any evidence you can acquire an elevation angle, look it up if you don't know what it is, from a curved baseline?
That would be a contradiction to the celestial sphere model.
Any evidence?
You can't do that.
Any evidence of a physical geometric sphere edge horizon, formerly known as the curve of the Earth?
That would be a contradiction to the celestial sphere model.
And the globe model's based on that model, right?
Yep.
No, it isn't.
Oh, here we go.
Nobody ever claimed it was geometric.
Yeah, they did. That's all they claim. That is the basis of the claim. Don't ruin this, Arwin.
Boats go over an apparent horizon, not a geometric one.
Not according to the geometric physical claim of an Earth curve edge obstruction in the Begging the Question, Proof of Nothing, Perspective Hijacking Earth Curve Mathematics, where boats are claimed to fall over a geometric physical limitation called our horizon, Arwin. So it's absolutely the premise of their claim. Mr. I'm going to play anti-flat earther and annoy me right at the beginning of the show.
Yeah, but the curvature calculator was not an accurate representation of reality.
Yeah, we'd agree on that.
Sphere model is.
Yeah, that's what we would say.
The celestial sphere model is an accurate representation of what we do see, and it's a flat plane based model. So that's
Right.
what
So
your sphere
boats
model
only
is.
go over a geometric horizon in orthographic view representations, but in the real world, they go over the apparent horizon.
Yeah, that's true.
No,
Well,
no.
Other than the over bit.
The celestial sphere is an orthographic view. To assert Earth curve, you need to create a different orthographic view because the celestial sphere is a flat plane. You don't have tangent points on flat planes.
Good
yeah, and
answer.
the sphere part is only apparent. It's only a perspective sphere. It's a local perspective sphere. It's not an actual big, huge sphere. You know, not
It's
that.
not an actual sphere, just an apparent one.
Correct. Is everybody in the chat following along? There's a fair few people. There's almost 70 people here, and we've only just started. So I want to get a grip of everybody in the audience's opinion in this regard. Do you all understand what we've just said in terms of us detailing how the celestial sphere, which is a perspective-based view that you get of the stars, i.e. the dome your vision provides you with, on a flat plane? And if you're going to describe there being Earth curve, then that flat plane in orthographic view for the celestial sphere has no curve to give you a tangent to block your view. Further to that, the model of a sphere has been taken from the celestial sphere in the first instance, obviously invalidating it because it couldn't work if you don't have angles in the first place. Does everybody in the live chat follow along? Brandon Cook says, I have no idea. Del West Watson gives a thumbs up. Generally Stones
Good
just
morning,
says
guys.
good morning.
Hey, chocolate. Yeah, the celestial sphere model requires the use of the horizontal coordinate system.
Right, you're going to need
needs
a
a
Euclidean flat
horizontal.
plane. Correct.
Yeah.
So the globe model's based on that. The globe model's based on the original measurements taken from a Euclidean flat plane with the dome of the heavens above if you want to use the star angles. That's how the globe's been developed.
Yeah, it's where our dual radii comes from.
This is the magic trick. Part of it, there's other aspects that do the similar or the same thing by different means, but this is part of the magic trick. This is how they've taken a flat plane that you actually work and live and build on and navigate and turned it into a sphere based on your view of the sky. That's how they've done it. Hopefully everyone's following around. Wow, 80 people watching. Fantastic.
Well, some guy yesterday said we made it up.
What?
Hold
They
on, be
said
more
we
specific.
say that. That's something we made up.
Something, you've got to be more specific.
That you get a flat. Everything started from a flat plane.
No, that model is being presented, hopefully, to Kent Hovind, as John has fulfilled the criteria to challenge him based on a false dichotomy reification on his part of these models. Now, his models derive from the celestial plane, if you want to call it that. My bad. The equatorial plane. I'll get it right eventually. They both come from the same place.
Yeah, for our opposition to state that we made that up, it's not only totally incorrect and wrong, as anyone can just Google and see the diagrams and see the, see the celestial sphere model. But it's a complete projection. It's complete projection. As no, the point is that someone connected to ye before ye made up your globe. Not we make things up. We're showing that where things were made up.
Wow, almost 100 people watching. It's less than 10 minutes into the live show. Fantastic. Thank you very much to all of you. Smash the share button for this show. A very warm welcome to all of you who've just joined us. If you have just joined us, please share the show. That's the only reason there's 100 people watching, or almost 100 people watching. Thank you very much for joining. Thank you very much for sharing. Hopefully you'll enjoy the show. Let's get on with housekeeping. Any evidence of axial rotation of the Earth-based variety? Go ahead, John.
If there was an axis, it would require it to be on a flat plane.
That makes no sense as a statement of response. If there was an axis, it would be an axis on a flat plane. That'd be a roundabout, wouldn't it?
That's what I'm saying. There's no axis of Earth. There's no measurable axis. But
Oh, I missed that bit.
in
There is no
context of-
axis. Right. If there was an axis, was the next bit though, wasn't it?
Right. If there was an axis to Earth, it would have to be on a flat plane.
But you can't have an axis from a that kind of frazzles my brain a
can
little
I
bit
give
because
some-
you're talking about two different things that don't work in tangent or in tandem with another.
I'm following
Well,
him.
that's the point, that their axis is a violation of the flat plane we dwell atop.
That's fine. That I can cope with. I can digest that. An axis at all, when describing a plane, which is an aspect, it doesn't work. It's just nonsense.
Can I give it a try?
Go ahead.
The axis they claim, right, for their actual axial rotation of their globe Earth requires a joule radii value, right? And those joule radii come from flat plane elevation angles to celestial bodies.
That was beautiful, Brian. Thank you so much. I feel so much better. I feel my muscles relaxing.
I knew
into
that
the
was
chair.
on you.
Any evidence of the distance to the sun?
Sorry.
Well, I did preface this with saying that I was just going to show the contradictions to their model in their positive claims. That was what I was prefacing all these with.
Oh, we totally get it. I mean, this is advanced level stuff, John. I'm in awe of what you're about to do. If you pull it off, it'll be amazing. And I don't see any reason why you can't pull it off based on the premises of the globe and how it's been devised. Like we said a few minutes ago, I think it was Neil that said that they just denied that there's a flat plane with a celestial sphere. It's like, what are you talking about? That is ipso facto where this stuff is based from. So if you deny it, you're denying it's globe Harry Carry, isn't it?
Yes, it is their model in its basic form. That's what they claim. The observations that prove a globe come from the celestial sphere model. They just never paid attention to the ground, I guess.
Yeah, the celestial sphere model's a flat plane. So their model's based on a flat plane, and it can't not be if you're taking elevation angles and deriving this perspective view celestial sphere above your position. Well, that's a hemisphere because you can only see to the horizon. But they've just transposed the flat plane that they used to derive that onto the arc of your view and called it a globe. That's the trick. Any evidence of the distance to the sun?
Well,
Nope.
that would require also a joule radii and an axis to the Earth, which have to be derived from a horizontal plane. And even if you had them, all you'd have is a two-way speed-like calculation that also involves a heliocentric sun. And no, there's no evidence for it.
Anybody else picking up on a theme here? All of the globe claims that we ask for in housekeeping questions are now being answered with, you're going to need a flat plane for that. I hope you're all picking up on this theme.
Well, not only that, but the idea that there is a radius to Earth is a contradiction to the model.
Right. If you consider that the celestial dome of the heavens is only going to be relative to the position you're viewing it from.
Well, you can't have a flat plane that curves. That's nonsense.
I keep forgetting that we're juxtaposing this with the sphere. Yeah, when you're talking about the surface that model isn't being a curve, then no, it doesn't work.
Yeah, all we have is an apparent sphere of the heavens, and it's only a local one. So,
yeah, based on your view. When you're measuring it and deriving elevation angles and doing celestial navigation, you've actually got a flat roof. I like that word now, Brian. I'm going to use that because it triggered them. So yeah, we've got a roof that's parallel with the ground.
yep.
That's how it's measured. I'm not saying there is a roof. I mean, obviously we have containment. Any evidence that you can have the gas pressure we all like breathing without containment?
Well, if you want to assert there's an atmosphere, that would be a violation of the celestial sphere model.
If I want to assert sphere-shaped air oxymoron, air doesn't take the shape of a sphere, it takes the shape of its containment. But that would also require a flat plane. What? It would violate the... How did you phrase it? Violate the celestial sphere model.
Celestial sphere model.
How does atmosphere,
that'd be a violation.
celestial sphere model violate? I don't follow.
Well, the celestial sphere model is a flat plane model. anything that asserts curvature to the ground is a violation of that model.
But it's not asserting it to the ground, it's asserting it to the air.
Yep, but atmosphere encompasses the Earth, right?
Yes,
Within
it
their
does.
model, or within
Yeah,
their-
we got there in the end. Okay, yeah, you're right. That does violate the celestial sphere model with a flat plane, because it would suggest in atmospheric law, sphere-shaped air law, that it's encompassing a sphere-shaped Earth. I'm afraid not. We operate on a plane.
It also violates natural law.
Second law of thermodynamics, a bit more specifically. That's right, entropy law. If the sky was a vacuum, the gas we breathe would fill the space. Any evidence?
Not
for this?
according to,
Go on,
not
Neil, go on.
according to dopey Professor Dave. By the way, I could not handle more than 15 minutes of that show yesterday.
Well, I
and
forgot what Dave-
shut it down in frustration.
Okay, that's lovely. What did Dave have to say on gas pressure? I can't remember. Excellent work, Neil. Thank you so much.
I can get Professor.
I'm sorry, it's a lot of noise, sorry.
Professor Dave's response probably went something like this: gravity.
Yeah, well, basically, look.
Yeah,
let's be honest.
that's what he claims, it's gravity.
Yeah, look, the thing about it is Professor Dave is actually behind the times. You know, that's why people aren't rushing to look for debates off him. When he was around, he was asked for debates loads of times. We all asked him for debates, and he wouldn't debate us. But now he's debating David Weiss. But the thing about it is that he's behind the times. You know, he wouldn't know what we're talking about here. He'd be listening to this, if he is listening to it. He'd probably be thinking, what are those idiots on about? Because he doesn't understand what we're talking about. Because he hasn't got to the point of understanding that the celestial sphere model requires a horizontal coordinate system.
Okay, well,
He
for the
doesn't
sake of Professor Dave, we'll all do the harp music and we'll flash back to 2015. Any scientific evidence of gravity?
Negative,
No.
and he also claims that Newton's equations work. That's how we make predictions, Dave. Are you that dumb?
We're back in 2015, aren't we?
Yeah, at the
Any
moment.
The answer
observations
is-
of gravity first?
Go ahead.
The
go.
description of gravity. The
Hold on,
description
go-
of gravity
Hold on,
would
John.
violate.
Hold on. Go ahead, Adam.
If we're in 2015, and the correct answer to is there any scientific evidence of gravity is scientific evidence of what? As far as I remember.
And it's the same answer now, right? What phenomena? What are you talking about, gravity? Number one, it's not a force in pseudo-Riemannian four space-time bending. It's the conceptual medium, length, breadth, depth, and time, being bent by the uneven distribution of mass. Well, we don't live in a conceptual medium. That's a mathematical description that doesn't affect our reality in any way, shape, or form, because there is no bending space-time. You can't show us time, you can't bend it, you can't dilate it. It's just Einsteinian nonsense that was brought into effect 107 years ago to replace the out-of-date notion that mass attracts mass, which you can violate with gas law. Just show a gas doing anything, ever, and it violates that notion that stuff goes to the ground at 9.8 metres per second. It does not. Mass does not attract mass, and we don't live in pseudo-4 space-time that bends, because you can't bend time. It's preposterous.
But I think you killed it immediately, even though everything you laid out after that, Nathan, was excellent. You just detailed the whole of heliocentric gravity, right, in a minute. But you didn't even need to, because when you asked the question a second time and you answered it yourself, you said, is there any scientific evidence of gravity? And your own answer was, what phenomena?
Right. That's what I
what it
mean.
is.
When it's Travis back in the day saying scientific evidence of what? It's because what gravity, what phenomena, we're not seeing anything occur, and when they describe it, what they're describing doesn't occur.
Right, and that description is a violation of the celestial sphere model as well.
Oh, hold on. We need the violin music, for harp music. We're back in the present day now. Right, what now? So the assertion that you might have scientific evidence of gravity with a violation that doesn't meet the description that they're describing as a phenomena, and we don't therefore have a phenomena, is a violation of the celestial sphere model. Pray tell, I don't follow.
Well, it has a center of mass asserted in Newtonian, and then it has M1, which has a size, a spherical size asserted. Both of those would be a violation of the celestial sphere model.
I still don't follow. Did anybody follow along that?
Yeah, I understand. Because both Newtonian and Einsteinian claims involve a center of mass, right? Center of mass requires a radius, right? A radius to a sphere. But that violates the celestial coordinate system.
I've got you.
The horizontal coordinate system.
Because Earth is the centre of M1. Is it M1? I always get this wrong. It's M2, isn't it? Because Earth
M2 and Newtonian.
Right. So because it's got a centre, that means it's got a radius and a curved surface. No, it hasn't. Okay, I got you. That's a violation of the celestial sphere model. You'll need a flat plane for that. And yeah, once we've got one, you can't have a centre of the Earth. What are you talking about? Any single viable hypothesis from any of the fields of astronomy, cosmology, or astrophysics?
If those fields aren't detailing their phenomenon on a flat plane, then their mechanics are wrong. They'll never get into the scientific hypothesis.
Adam's got the dome of the heavens above the equatorial plane. Did you want to make a comment?
Yeah, if that bloke moves 50 miles to the east, west, north, south, what happens to the celestial sphere that he's viewing?
Moves with him.
It rotates above him.
Yeah. It's the celestial sphere, you are the centre of the universe. You, the viewer, the observer. You're not representing yourself at the centre of a giant ball. There is no ball. The only ball is the imaginary ball of the celestial sphere, as we imagine it to be a ball, as we imagine it, respectfully, disregard perspective. Take those angle measurements, and that's what the celestial sphere is. It's just the world viewed by our eyes. Only curve in it from our eyeballs.
Can I just take
the pictures on a flat plane, not wherever he moves.
Can I just take a moment to
Yeah.
blow smoke up at all of our own asses? Because we are basically fantastic here. We are showing you how they have taken the flat Earth we actually live on, provably, measurably so, and transposed it into the sphere by way of a juxtaposition with the angle measurements from your perspective view to a dome your eye creates, and then the ground you've stood on to measure an angle with that view is transposed up above your head, placing you in the centre of a rock. And the ground you were stood on is now a plane in the middle of a rock, with the ground that you're not standing on, but you should think you're standing on, projected out above your head, formally the arc of your view. Isn't that nuts? We are so on the cutting edges. Absolutely cool.
Yeah, this just to add on to what Adam said, the celestial sphere model is showing you that you are at the center of your own personal apparent universe everywhere you go. A universe.
This is the actual hijacking of perspective. Then if you reify this, you can get the Earth curve calculator if you want to violate the tenets of this model. And the
That was deep, Brian. That was real deep.
And if you want to see the violation of the tenets of that model, that's on the slide that's going through in the Hangout right now. Let's see if I can bring it up for the audience. There you go.
I got that a little late too, Neil. The universe. Yeah.
Universe. Very good. Shout out to Godzilla37. He says, quote, "There's lights in the sky, therefore globe," end quote. Professor, in quotes, Dave's best argument. Can globers not do better than this guy? Well, no. Dave's as good as any in terms of the anti-flat Earth or flat Earth arguments. I mean, I don't see Dave as any less or more qualified than anybody else to put those arguments across, if I'm perfectly honest. They're all flawed. We know how. Thank you for the super chat.
Yeah, I mean, as an anti-flat earther, I think he did very well.
Yeah,
he was pretty good.
Yeah, he did all right, Dave. Professor Dave we're talking about now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he did all right. As anti-flat earthers go, I thought, yeah, that was tolerable. I'd have coped with that. Now, I know from others' perspective, they go, oh, prick, he was interrupting a lot. Yeah, that's par for the course. But I thought, yeah, I'd have coped with that quite nicely. That wasn't too bad. Other than his distorted mic, that would have driven me nuts. In fact, I wouldn't. I know already I'm lying. Oh, I couldn't cope when I tried to edit a video. If I'm really honest, the real reason I stopped editing the video, because I did start, I said, I just didn't have time. Well, I was going to make time, but when I heard Professor Dave distorting, clipping, and looking at the levels absolutely rammed to the top, I couldn't cope with the editing process. I'm like, this is too nasty. I can't subject my audience to this. It's horrible.
Yeah. Well, the thing about it is, just before Adam's going to say what he's going to say there, is that as a challenge, as an anti-flat earth challenge, and as a representation of anti-flat earth, and a representation of a good debater or someone who can put up a good debate from their side, there's different versions of that debate, different ways that people debate using, but what he did now was pretty much kind of like the scattergun attack model, and he did a good job of it, actually, because I didn't hear him in debates much before. I was kind of impressed.
Hey, check it out. Tim Osmond's in the chat rubbing in David Weiss's performance. So he's saying, thanks for recommending the show. I'll go and watch Dave have his ass handed to him. Okay, if you want to see it that way, Tim Osmond.
Yeah, I told you he was in the chat yesterday talking nonsense. I told him to come on in.
Yeah, he can tell us all about how his belief structure violates the model it's based on.
It just shows you what goes into their ears and runs around their heads, doesn't it? At what point has anyone said, Dave Weiss got bent over and I got his bottom spanked? No, that's not what was said, but isn't it interesting what Globe is actually here?
Well, what's interesting is I'm not talking about me personally, but just because I said it, I as a flat earther can actually give Professor Dave props on putting up a good anti-flat earther argument. But what I didn't say was that argument is based on over-talking, insulting, appeals to consensus, unproven claims, scattergunning, and in the end, nothing is proven by that side, regardless of whether if it's someone who's claiming to be a professor or anything. Nothing is actually ever proven.
Yeah, that's why Tim Osmond's saying he's done a good job. That is, as far as Tim Osmond's concerned, a job well done.
Yeah, he succeeded in not proving it and just stopping the flat earther from talking. That's
exactly
the basics of it.
Job well done as far as Tim Osmond's concerned. Good standards they've got over on their side now. What, you managed to Fundy mute the entire time? Wow, great job. Yeah, that showed him.
Yep.
Did we cover molten iron core? Any evidence of a self-perpetuating molten iron core at the centre of a presupposed spherical Earth? John, over to you.
That would be a contradiction of the celestial sphere model and its tenets.
And the globe's based on that, right?
Yeah, the globe is actually a contradiction of the celestial sphere model.
But moreover, based on a flat Earth model. The globe's based on a flat Earth. It's nice to say that. Very nice, very nice.
Well, the globe is kind of based on the molten iron core, because without that, there won't be the rotation. Without the rotation, there won't be a globe, really. A globe model, a heliocentric model. Because what's causing the sun to come up and go down?
Is everybody aware of the
model.
backstory to the molten iron core? I'm sure you all are.
You got to give us the fairy dust music if you're going to tell it.
Once upon a time, there was a fledgling planet called Earth, on a happy-go-lucky orbital path around the sun. Little did the fledgling Earth know that there was another planet on a devastating collision course called Thea. Thea smashed into the globe Earth at a glancing blow, depositing its juicy, delicious molten iron core, coincidentally, on Earth's core. The debris formed our moon, and everyone lived happily ever after. Yeah, that's it.
So I think I can answer any claims that Kent Hovind may make with a one-sentence response.
No, you feel free.
I mean, if he chooses to make any claims, he might try to attack mine and his model.
Well, he's going to have a job because his model's based on that. I hope you pull this off. I really, really do.
It's kind of trolly, but I don't want to. I don't want to make an enemy of Kent Hovind either. You know,
It's not trolly. How is it trolly to point out that the origins of their model are a flat plane? How is that trolling when it's just the winning argument and the fact of the matter? That's not trolling.
I guess it's just the way I'm framing it when we're talking about it right now. I won't be like this if I do talk to Kent Hovind.
I don't view it as I don't see this. I know we've all gone, hey, you know, stick it to him and all that, but I don't see this as you trolling Kent Hovind. I think you've seen an angle to appeal to him, and the angle is your model's based on a flat Earth, mate. What's that? You want to compare your model to my model? Well, I'll just take the origins of your model, which are flat, and use that. And then when you detail your model, I'll point out how your models come from my model, which is flat. And if you try and deny my model, I'll point out that your model's based on my model, which is flat. So you're technically denying your own model by denying my model. That's going to work out beautifully because it's the facts of the matter. Did we cover all the housekeeping questions?
1 second. There is something I need to add in here. Technically, Kent Hovind's model, as we've spoke about some weeks ago, that is the flat Earth model. That's a model that's based off of flat Earth. There isn't a flat Earth model of the flat Earth, but that is the model that's based off the flat Earth. So he is promoting his model, the model we're supposed to present him for debate. He's presenting that very model. That is our
Exactly.
model.
He just doesn't know it yet. And I hope John's the one to point that out.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping too. Like when it comes time to present our models, you know, I'll just say, "Oh, you already did for me. Thanks. I'm using that one."
That's what I was going to say. He just doesn't know it yet. And you know what? He would be a great asset. He's a very smart guy, destroys evolution. So
And he
hopefully
makes-
he'll catch on.
And he makes some very nice Kool-Aid. And you're free to leave at any time. Nobody will stop you. Just to make that
He's not a
absolutely
cult
clear.
leader.
I get it.
Did we seriously though? Did we cover all the housekeeping questions?
Did we cover R?
No? Any evidence of the R value? Earth radius.
The idea that Earth has a radius would be a violation of the model, the celestial sphere model.
The globe Earth's based on that, right? That flat plane.
Yeah,
You
it's
can
based on it.
approximate a radius value, can't you, from star distances to the horizon. But the only way you can approximate it is to have accepted that the angles you've taken to create your curvature have been taken off of a flat surface. That's what they do. They do use celestial navigation to build the ball, where the curvature we see, or attribute angular change in the sky, is attributed to curvature of the surface. But you have to have, as John will say, that first premise that the angles you've taken have been taken off a flat planar surface before you can manipulate the numbers in maths to represent your plotting onto a ball.
Right, like Red Rhetoric did when he's debating with Jeranism back and forth in a videography debate about the distance measurement to the moon. And Red Rhetoric takes measurements from a flat plane and then inserts his R value to compensate for the fact the ground's curving. He just measured it flat, mate.
Yeah, he would have never gotten that angle if it was curved.
Right. His insertion of R used to be described by us, because we didn't spot this back then, as being capable of being done on a flat Earth also in that instance. Well, no, not quite. Their globe Earth model required it to be flat first. Same goes for sticks and shadows. Same goes for almost anything in a globe Earth claim that's involving an angle measurement of any kind. As soon as they say the word angle, you're going to need a flat plane for that. "150 people watching. Woo-hoo-hoo. Please share the show. Very warm welcome if you've just joined us. Smash that share button. That's the only reason there's 150 people watching, because people in the audience are kind enough to smash the share button. So please smash it if you haven't done so already.
There's another reason I did this too is, Dave Weiss likes using models to teach people. I was hoping by hearing this, he would incorporate the celestial sphere flat plane model into his arguments. With any luck, he will.
We'll see. I'm sure that'll be the case. Thank you for the show. Have to go to the dentist to get a filling done. Hope the Earth doesn't start spinning while he's doing it. I think I'll be fine. Thank you very much indeed for the super chat, Godzilla. Right, as there's a slight lull, I'm going to plug my playlist. We did this discussion in the pre-show when I said we were all getting warmed up. I was enthusiastically talking about something that I accidentally discovered that I'd created, which is the Shorts playlist from this channel. Nathan Oakley 1980 has a Shorts playlist. And in it, there's about 85 videos, probably actually about 75, because there's a couple of duplicates and a couple of long-form videos that have managed to make their way in there. But aside from that, there's at least an hour and a half of 30-second to 1-minute videos that are the most concise possible version of a debating point. Because I've taken a 2-hour show, condensed it to a 30-minute segment, and then condensed that down to a 12-minute video, and then condensed that down to a Shorts video. And all of those have been compiled in that playlist. And like I say, by chance, I just ended up playing it. And having not had my own material presented back to me in that way, including the adverts, which were quite amusing when they jump cut in, I really enjoyed the experience. Now, I'm not just blowing smoke at my own ass. That is kind of my job. But by the same token, I do want to encourage you all to do it with sincerity, because I literally played the entire playlist in the background before the show while I was doing other stuff. And constantly, you can probably hear my voice now, I was smiling the whole time as I found it all very amusing, having not had my own stuff presented back to me. And typically you lose interest in your own material after you've made it and you've presented it and all the rest of it. It wears thin. But this was far from that, so I really enjoyed it. I'll probably end up watching that playlist again, as sad as that sounds. But please check out my Shorts playlist. I have promoted it at the end of lots of the short form videos. It comes up as a thumbnail at the end on the screen. But like I say, I just never watched it as a playlist, and now I have. I'm very keen to promote it. So please check out my Shorts playlist.
Well, they're the condensed forms of like the point that's being argued in each case, right? Like the point of contention.
Yeah, the point of contention summed up in the first 3 seconds. The obfuscation comes in the next 6 seconds. The rebuttal comes in the next 10 seconds. Then the obfuscation's repeated and the video ends. Also, there's some concessions in there. So it's not just the fundy tactics of obfuscation that you get to see in those videos. There's plenty of concessions, far more than I thought that we'd got. Plenty of people saying, yeah, I understand that. Yeah, you can only measure an angle off a flat Earth. Yeah, I concede that. Yeah, you can't have gas pressure without a container. And a lot of concessions where they're defying the fundy rhetoric of the anti-flat earthers who are prevalent, like Blue Marble. Brilliant. Check out my Shorts playlist. It's ace. I promise you'll love it. And you'll want to share it. Shout out to Ben White for joining for a member for 9 months. Thank you very much indeed. 3 Bitcoin for anyone out there who can prove that we live on a spinning water ball in a vacuum. Any takers? Please share the show. Really appreciate the support. Wow, almost 170 people watching. That's a lot of people watching. Really appreciate all of you who have shared the show already. Good show as well. I'm glad there's a lot of people watching today. From the terrible live start to this, great enthusiasm level. A testament to my panel, I'm sure you'll all agree. I haven't heard much from you guys in Discord. That said, I haven't actually gone through and unmuted anybody, so...
I had to nip off for a phone call there, but I'm still sharing. It wasn't for me, it was for 10th. Did you cover it 10th, or...? I think it was probably the same point. There was a couple of slides.
No, I didn't. I was waiting for you to do it.
You want to do that now? We'll just see if there is any interruptions. I've just taken a whole load of people off mute in Discord, so... Did anybody want to add anything from Discord? I'm really sorry, I haven't paid attention to you. No, Nathan, we're all good. Nobody noticed. Oh, that's good to know. Go ahead, 10th.
Well, I'll let Adam, because he's got control of the slides now, and I agree with what he said earlier. So I just went and got some of my slides for him to make the point more solid.
Yeah, I mean, there's not a great deal to add, because I think that the point was made. I liked Brian's little wordplay. It's the universe, and that really is the crux to this. It's the crux to, not the southern crux. It's the crux to celestial navigation, to what a celestial sphere is. Is to understand it's an image that renders solely for you. Its premise is it's being yielded from a flat plane. It's how it all works, not just the first angle, but the distances. Okay, and that's the point of celestial navigation. And they've put on here, look, they've got celestial poles, which they're given places within. And you look at that and you think, oh, look, North Pole, South Pole. Same on this one. They're the relative positions in your celestial sphere of vision. They don't exist. You can't see through your feet. Yeah, it's not, it's all imaginary in terms of the sphere. Because as I alluded to earlier, this is us hijacking perspective. But it's through, and I've said it before, because it is the majesty of the heavens that allows this impossible trigonometry. Without a side length, you can't do the math, yet the heavens yields the side length from us. And in Navigator's minutes, and that, I'll say it again, is the blessing from the heavens. It's not just basic trig, it's a gift, and the way it works and the way it lines up and uses the premises of trigonometry. I say the fundamental that the heavens yield a side length on the flat plane. It yields that distance on the flat plane, as well as the angle is the majesty of it. And like I said, it's fundamentally backed up. All of that free gift is premised within trig, triangles, right angled triangles specifically, parallel
Beautiful,
planes.
isn't it, Adam? Isn't it beautiful?
Hmm.
Adam's Adam's a mathematician, which is why he's you know talking about this like it's a lover.
It is so beautiful, though, the way it works and it's the impossibility of maths is yielded from the heavens. QE makes that joke. Yeah, here's an angle of 15 degrees. What's the side length? You can't do it, but you can with celestial navigation. To marry.
Did someone want to add something?
Angle to yield the
Sorry,
distance
Adam.
on the surface.
Did someone want to add something from Discord?
Yeah. So, if I can be a fill-in for Arwen, I'd like to offer some mumbo jumbo.
Okay, go ahead.
Basically, when we're talking about celestial navigation, at the basic utilitarian sort of, you might even say moral level, we're talking about figuring out where you are. And I'd like to point out how interesting it is that people who subscribe to the heliocentric model are the people who are the most likely to find themselves in a building or an institution or a place of business that is so congruent or identical to another place of business elsewhere on the plane. In other words, if you walk into one 7-Eleven in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, it's going to look exactly the same in Dayton, Ohio, and Portland, Oregon, or whatever, such that these people actually don't know where they are at all. And so the heliocentric model, far from providing accurate navigation in terms of location, actually provides the exact opposite. It provides what I may poetically describe as an entropic effect, where all places become exactly the same and all microstates are occupied by the same, Disney Plus, 7-Eleven type of existence. Are you guys tracking me?
I'm tracking with
this
you to a
whole
certain
critique?
extent. Yeah, it's very deep. But yeah, I am tracking along with what you're trying to say.
Yeah, that's just my 2 cents, my whiskey shamanizing.
Except it has nothing to do with celestial navigation because you need a 90.
Well,
That
yeah,
link
but if
wasn't
you
quite
care about math and precision, you might also care about information at other degrees of granularity. So you might care about like nutrition at its most granular. You might care about interpersonal interactions at the most granular, right? And the people that we're debating with typically have a total haze at the most foundational levels of their epistemology, which is so funny to me because, these people claim that flat Earth observations are all just based on haze, whereas the opposite seems to be the case. I don't know.
No, you're right. It's just when Tent said it's nothing to do with celestial navigation, you just used it as a segue where you're describing the worldview of somebody who's on the globe as being kind of lost and not really knowing where they are. Well, yeah, detaching you from your actual reality is a very useful control technique that you're summarising. I totally agree.
You prefaced your statement saying it was going to be Arwinian, and Arwin actually has a specific phrase for that. I think they're called trans-back zombies. He does talk about it specifically, to be fair. You're happy to go around zombified.
Adam, you have like a weird horror movie synth sound going on in the background of your
Neighbour's got his strimmer out. He's just cutting the lawn.
It's a strimmer. No, it's a chainsaw. Run!
Yeah, they're after. It's a trans-back zombie. It's coming.
So there we go. Yeah, it's nice to summarise the zombie nature of the average globe earther. But they're in blissful ignorance of it. It's like the scene in The Matrix where you've got Morpheus showing Neo around the Matrix. He doesn't know he's not really in the Matrix, it's a simulation. And he's just telling him that the people who are locked up in the Matrix will not only fight to stay there, that any one of them could end up being an agent. That's why when back in the day everyone got labelled chilled, it's like, no, it's just any person that's trapped in this paradigm of a globe can easily become a defender of it. A drop of a hat. It doesn't mean they're being inhabited by an agent. It just means that they're more than willing to defend their paradigm against anybody that seems to challenge it. Half the time, they don't know why.
Well, they're not free thinkers. They're controlled, indoctrinated thinkers.
No, it's very much like the Agent Smith popping out. Like the programming all of a sudden takes over. And all of a sudden they have responses for things they didn't even think about. But the responses have already been pre-programmed. So that's when the Agent Smith comes out.
That's what happens when you teach people what to think instead of how to think.
Exactly.
Could I just say something on
another
the
question?
Oh, go ahead if you've got another question. Sorry, Brian.
10th, this isn't really a what do you call it, a probing question as far as your methodology, which as far as I understand is very sound, but it's more philosophical. Like, don't you think it's amazing that human beings actually have an innate sense of the real, such that they trust each other to know that if somebody writes down what the GP of the sun or a star is and say it's in the almanac, like, we can trust that? Like, given the state of duplicity of the world, like, we know that if someone wrote that said star is going to be above my position at such and such time at such portion of the year, like, we can trust that. I think that's pretty amazing.
Well, it's not my methodology. I've gotten their books, and it's something that they've limited down to in the Air Almanac to 64 navigational stars, and in the Nautical Almanac close to 200. So most people use the Air Almanac because it's a smaller volume, and it works.
Well, I know, but what I'm saying is, like, people can accurately report what star is above their head, so why would they start inducing lies and other matters? I don't know. It's just kind of an interesting puzzle to me.
I don't understand your question. You mean, why is some of what they share true and the rest not true in the books?
Exactly. Yeah.
It's
No,
all
not in the books.
practicality.
In general.
It's the practicality of it, isn't it?
That's how it all.
Like these guys,
That's
they're
how-
taking these measurements. I'm sorry, Tef, I know I'm cutting in, but I just feel like that's when you have to do something in reality, right? And it has to work, you make it work, right? So when these guys are measuring these angles to stars and finding out where they are, well, they don't want to be lost at sea, right? They want to actually be able to find out where the hell they are. So yeah, that's when they use things. It's the same way, even in NASA's own documents, they'll say they take the Earth as flat and stationary when building a vehicle, like an airplane. When you actually have to put people in an airplane and it actually has to work over this flat stationary world, you don't pretend it's something else and then build it according to that. You build it according to how the world works.
When it's the truth, you don't have a contradiction of the law of contradiction. You don't violate it. You don't violate that. So when the serpent in the biblical story in Genesis came to Eve, he uttered some half-truths. He also lied. So what do you think the Copernicus people are going to do? They're going to use elevation angles. They could only work on a flat plane, and then they're going to make you think you live on a globe. So it's a half-truth and a lie.
Perfect. Almost 200 people watching. I can't quite believe the numbers. Fantastic. A very massive thank you again to everyone who shared the show. Please share the show. It's been a really good live show today, like top form. Even though there's been no fundies debating us, in terms of informational standards, this has been way up there. So please smash the share button. And a massive warm welcome to all of you who've just joined us. We are going to round out shortly. There is an after show to follow. Please subscribe to my second channel, again, if you haven't done so, and then you can check out the pre-show and after show that continues after the live show ends. The recording continues for a while, sometimes for hours and hours and hours, depending if there's a good discussion or debate that goes on, and you can see that for free on my second channel. So subscribe today to Nathan Oakley. As we're near the live show, and there's nearly 200 people watching, I'm also going to plug my shorts playlist, which I discussed a couple of minutes ago. So please check out my shorts playlist. It's epic. Lots of condensed 30-second to 60-second debating points with the rebuttals, all wrapped up nicely, sometimes even with a concession. Yes, indeed, a concession from anti-flat earthers in that playlist. But it's if you like the kind of jarring cuts between videos because they're so short and concise, with a few ads thrown in, which are also beneficial to me, so please watch my ads. Then check it out. But it's epic. So please watch my shorts playlist. And thank you for tuning in. Anyone else got any points before we do round out? We've got about 5 minutes left.
I have.
On this, I've got it on screen. It's the thing that 10th dug out a while back, and Eli brought it up again this week. But I think just the points that were being made there, particularly by Chocolate, is very pertinent. This is by Darcy Reddyhoff, the Royal Air Force College at RAF Cranfield. So if I just read, I think it's quite good. He's addressing a previous article that's been talking about why people don't believe in evolution and why they think the Earth could be flat. So I'll go anyway. Andrew Hill, Darwin Rules, okay, posted the 12th of July. Says, even in The Spectator, we rarely find serious assertions that the sun goes around the Earth. One can, of course, believe anything one likes as long as the consequences of that belief are trivial. But when survival depends on belief, then it matters that belief corresponds to manifest reality. We therefore teach navigators that stars are fixed to the celestial sphere, which is centered on a fixed Earth, and around it which rotates in accordance with laws clearly deducible from common sense observation. The sun and moon move across the inner surface of this sphere and hence perforce go around the Earth. This means that the students of navigation must unlearn a lot of the confused dogma they learned in school. Most of them find this remarkably easy because dogma is as may be, but the real world is as we perceive it to be. If Andrew Hill will look into the Journal of Navigation, he will find that the Earth-centered universe is alive and well, whatever his readings of The Spectator may suggest. Darcy Redoff, RAF, Cranfield.
I'm going to say, if you are watching this on either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley Premiering streams, then stay tuned, as there will be an after show to follow. Unfortunately, if you are watching this live, 200 people, wow, then a huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of you who smashed the super chat, liked, commented, shared, subscribed, joined as a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member, smashed the PayPal link, and all that good stuff. Another massive thank you to today's Discord and G Plus panels for making today's live show possible. I've been Nathan Oakley. Stay tuned if you're watching on a premiering stream, and I will see you all in the next video.
What a lovely day!